I try not to take life too seriously, you know, and that's pretty much it. I'm a very simple guy. Get to know me. I came to the realization after I had an interest in graphic designing back in high school or secondary school. I then built a hobby for photography, and I started that when I was working at Maxmart Shopping Center. That was way back about 3 years ago, and I stopped Maxmart and started my own business.
So you've actually had an eye for this for over a decade?
Yes.
Okay. What difficulties did you face when you first started out?
Well, I faced the same circumstances as anybody would face, trying to get my brand out there, trying to get recognized. But I must say that I think I was at an advantage because of, I don't know if it's the big ears, but, I think it's my personality, really. I always make people laugh. Because I'm that kind of guy. Like, I always concern myself with the people around me. So people tend to come around me as well, and so anything that I do, I guess people are attracted to it because I put my heart into it. And so that is what happened with the photography. With everything else, when it comes to with good work, if you do something good with a passion, you will be recognized. Tip 101.
With regard to the Ghanaian industry or market, are there any recurring problems that you face?
Recurring problems would be the surprise when they hear our charges. When I say, we charge, let's say, $3,000 for shooting your wedding, they're like, oh my God, why so expensive? And you're like, the equipment alone that we hold in our hands are worth at least $6,000 to $7,000. That excludes our workmanship on the day, the time that we're going to use to edit your pictures, the products, the albums, the canvas prints, etc., depending on the packages that you choose. And so they always tend to, do that, and it's quite upsetting, because I don't think, as we are professionals, we say we're doctors in our profession, because if we give you a camera, you can't take a professional picture with the camera that we use, the equipment. It's actually very technical, and people don't really know. In fact, I didn't know until I got into it myself, to be honest. So that is one of the problems that we face. People always challenging our prices. I don't expect to go to a lawyer's office and tell him what to charge. But people come in here and they do. They can say, we'll pay you this amount. Like, this is non-negotiable.
I didn't know much about photography when I came to capture. I just knew the basics and a few things, but I mean, obviously, it has improved. It has improved greatly since I started working here at capture. So. Barrak is actually a nice guy. He's actually a nice guy. Like, overall, he's a nice guy. What I really like about him is the way he thinks when it comes to business. His business mind. I like the way he thinks about his business mind. There's something I really like about him. Barrak has always had. He's a man with a vision. Like, I don't know. There's some people who. It's as though they know what they want. You see, yeah, he sees a bigger picture. That's one thing I can really pinpoint about him. But he's a nice guy overall. Even though sometimes he can really annoy. Barrak can be really, really, really annoying. He can be really annoying, but he's a nice guy generally. He's a nice guy.
Another problem I have is people assuming things. Let's say they flew him in from abroad to come and take pictures. So a lot of people actually approach me or call me over and say, hey, are you based in Ghana? I'm like, yeah, I'm Ghanaian. I've been born and raised here my whole life. And they go like, wow, I'm Kakra, and then they're like amazed. I'm like, why are you judging? Like, it doesn't mean because I'm white. I'm not even white. So you need to turn a deaf ear to lots of things. And if take it this way: if you don't invest in yourself, who will? That's the question. And I didn't wait for anybody to tell me what I was capable or not capable of doing. I got up off my feet and it took a risk. It's a risk. There wasn't any guarantees that I was gonna get this far. There still isn't a guarantee that I'm gonna go further than this. It's a constant battle. So you have to be well motivated, and the source of that would be your passion. Your passion for what you do, not for the money, not for the fame, not for anything, but glory and your passion. And obviously you can't do anything without God. If you're not prayerful, or you don't acknowledge the fact that there is something higher than you in life, I don't think you will go too far. So my advice for anybody in any kind of field, any kind of work, it goes, I mean, it's a popular thing. God first, yourself, and then money at the end. Money should be the least of your problems, though it's the highlight of our lives. If you go chasing the money and the money doesn't come, you always skip to the next profession, and you're going to waste your life doing a whole lot of things, and it's not going to go right. So chase your ambition, chase your passion, and the money will come regardless.
Where do you see yourself and Capture in the next 5 years?
I want to create the foundation for Capture where it will last without me being around. It will go from my generation to the next and the next and the next. It will be something that will be synonymous with memories. If you want to capture a memory, whether video or photos, it has to be captured. And not about Ghana, talking about worldwide. It could take 20, 30 years. I'm just pushing towards it. I'm planning for 5 years maybe to open 3 or 4 more branches. But I'm talking about even more than that. I'm talking about way, way, way further, you know.
Where Barrak is going in the future, Capture, I mean, I see it, and I'm telling you guys now, this guy is going to be a multi-million, billion-dollar company in the future, because he's coming up with new things all the time. And I see this company going far, 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 and well, one day hopefully I'll have a share in it as well. One of the things I find really amazing about Barrak too is that it's not just about the money. It's deeper than that. It's like he really just wants to remember your memory. His tagline, which is actually capture your memory bank, and I always tell him, are you sure it's not capture your memory back? Because he literally brings those memories back. And I've seen some of his work that he's done for community as well, and taking pictures to bring awareness to some of the real issues that we face here in Ghana. And I think pictures tell a story. I love Capture. They're great, and I can see such a bright future for them. So I'm his biggest fan, because you are amazing. But do give me some free pictures every once in a while, okay?
Then we became very good friends, you know what I mean? Exo Nation, which is my brand, so to speak, you know, my fans and friends and followers. My name is Exo Senevo, so they call themselves Exo Nation. And became like a sister or group or brother group or whatever to Capture. So now there's no Capture without Exo Nation, and there's no Exo Nation without Capture. Like, you can find me there, you can find them here, it's normal.
But I knew that he was going to be successful. The name could have been Buy My Dog Meat, and he would have been successful because he was a hard worker anyway. But I thought the name was whack still. I mean, if you ask me how I'm going to remember Barrak in 10, 20 years, I'm going to still remember him in that room in his living room with that big screen in front of him, working to 2 a.m. Because the highs that great men achieved and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, whilst their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night. So when people see Capture on Facebook and they follow Capture on Facebook, or they see all these nice photos, it wasn't done in a day. It didn't take a single tweet or a Facebook status to create Capture. It took sleepless nights, planning and building. So I remember Barrak as the builder.
So some time passed, a lot of time passed actually, flip to almost a year later, I used him for an event, and his business ethic, first of all, was perfect. Like, in a place like Ghana, people normally don't, seem to not know how to conduct business correctly. Barrak was straight. It was a pleasure to have somebody like him to do business with. But what happened was his talent behind the camera struck me as God's gift. He is amazing with the camera.